It's the morning of March 15th. We're chasing a tip about a man who's leaving the country. Our sources tell us he just took a carry-on bag through security that was packed with $1 million cash. You can do that as long as you fill out one of these government forms. The money is usually headed to the Middle East, Dubai, and points beyond. Our sources say last year alone, more than $100 million cash left MSP in carry-on luggage.
How much money do you think has been sent around fraudulently here inside Minnesota?
Over the years, I would say anywhere from 80 to $100 billion.
The Somalian fraud is nationwide.
Columbus, Ohio has the second largest Somali population after Minneapolis. The money is in suitcases in Columbus. It flies to Minnesota. It goes to Minneapolis. Then the couriers in Minneapolis pick up that money, combine it with the money in Minnesota, and take it overseas.
What's the name of the child care here?
I don't know.
I ask, has this place ever been a child care? The woman says no. But obviously, Washington state records tell a completely different story.
Yeah, this specific address is locked into Washington state records as a daycare.
Yeah.
They have made $210,000 just this year.
And how many kids again is this place registered for?
Oh, that's the fun part. 3
kids.
So this place are licensed for 9 children.
Okay, this place is licensed for 9,
but they have 6 slots available.
Right.
Which means they only have 3 kids, and they've raked in $210,000 in tax money.
The Somali Education Resource Center, Suite 301 here at 299 East Granville Road in Dublin, Ohio. Now, the deal is that $14 million into this center here. This is a single office. And by the way, there's nothing inside it. We've already looked. It is very, very, very much dark, and it looks like there's maybe a couch inside.
The Democrats continue to play the race card, of course.
Whether you're Somalian, Italian, Indian, Irish, Jewish, I don't care. If you're stealing billions of dollars from American taxpayers, funneling it to terror networks, you do not belong here. That's not called immigration in America. That is called criminality.
What do you make of this argument of failure to assimilate and sort of ruining America? How do you understand this?
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people, because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing. The idea that this is a white nation that needs to be preserved is a fascinatingly disgusting view.
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic.
The one place where we thought we would never experience this is the U.S. goddamn states.
How is one race being targeted when that supposedly victimized race is robbing Americans from every walk of life?
I'm a licensed private investigator in California. I started looking into state records, and I found ghost daycares. These are places where the state inspector showed up. There would be 28 kids enrolled, and there were no kids there in the middle of the day and in the middle of the week.
The Attorney General of Washington State has called the journalists that are investigating the fraud that's going on. Yeah, that's apparently harassment.
At Halauli Safia Child Care Center in Kent, Washington, they have received $863,000 since 2023. I don't see any signs right off the bat that it's a child care.
Washington Attorney General Nick Brown has labeled it potential harassment that could lead to hate crime reports, emphasizing that unsubstantiated accusations and door knocking disrupts providers and families.
A lot of this is generated by the president and Elon Musk tweeting out unverified reports in Minnesota, and that quickly, grew a storm across the nation. What I'm concerned about is YouTubers showing up at your porch and filming children.
This coming from an attorney general that is aggressively targeting Christians. But if you have nothing to hide, what's the problem? John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
whatever the future may hold.
I'm going to give it a shot here just for a little bit. Cover a few things. Last night, I lost juice. I lost sound at about, I don't know, it was pretty early, about 45 minutes, 47 minutes and 40 seconds in. So I'm downloading that show, and I will upload the good parts of it, and then that I missed out. I'll have to find a night this week that I can do it because it was a really good show. It's horrible. I hate when that happens. Moderator for so that we can track that stuff, and we just don't have one. So I don't know when I lose sound, but everything was working fine. I didn't do anything weird, but for some reason I lost sound. So I apologize for that. If you were here and the sound went dead, and then you waited, some people waited and waited and waited for the sound to come back on. It never did. I want to apologize for that ahead of time. So that's why we're testing right now. We're just seeing. I'm going to test and run a few clips, see a few things, see if we can get this to do it again on us while we're monitoring it. So, Somali. That clip riddled with Somali fraud is the clip that report, and part of what's going on, or start here. Thank you for being here. January 24th, 2026. Being here Saturday night. Beautiful day in California today, as the weather south is just horrible. Like, they're talking about major storms and major things. They're saying that those major storms and things are not like man-made. A lot of that stuff is there's a lot of conspiracies or theories going on right now about the weather that's out there. So if you're out there, God bless you. I hope that you're safe. That's what I want to say. Yep. All right. So this thing in Minnesota and California and Chicago and New York and all these blue states where this fraud is, like, they found, I think it was $500,000 in fraud in Minnesota, and then they started monitoring or looking into California, and it was 7. So I mean, there's fraud. There's a lot of fraud going on out there, just in the daycare stuff and the welfare fraud and the medical fraud. All these different things that they're using to take and shuffle cash to Somalia, or to the Taliban, or to China, or to whoever, wherever it's going. I mean, it's just crazy when you think about it. This is our taxpayers, the money that we pay in taxes gets funneled to all these places, NGOs, all this stuff that's going on the street in Minnesota, in California, and Chicago, Portland, all these different places that are rioting and doing all this new tagline is iced out. What I want to say is the reason why such a thing going on with the protesters, this paid, because of paid propagandists, by the way. The reason why it's so strong is because the local government in Minnesota has been pushing this so take the heat off of them for all this, $500 million or whatever it is, whatever the fraud, whatever the number, I think it's $500 million in fraud that they've located in Minnesota. And so if you take the look off of the fraud and put it on the protest, then clear. But these people are just retarded because even when all that goes away, all this protest stuff, if they don't burn down the city, country, whatever, it's still going to be there. So this is their diversion tactic, which at the moment seems to be working on some level. But I got to tell you, when I see that they've been sending millions and millions of dollars right on a plane and shipping it over to India to ship it over to whoever they Dubai, and then they cart it from Dubai to to the other places that it goes to in Somalia. That tells you a lot about like what they're doing with this cash that they're bringing in from daycares, just the daycares that have no kids in them. The other part is the kids that are missing. What is it? Oh, last count was 500,000 kids missing. That was from 2025 when Trump took office. There was 500,000 kids missing. Not the ones that are in addition to, but the ones that are like lost missing, right? And it just it's like, how come the kids are always the ones that are involved in this? How come it's always about the kids? It's about the the things that they do. That they surround it around things that they fund for children, and they turn it into suitcases of cash going to or some terrorist organization. It just doesn't make sense to me. And when you think about the Somalis, they're just like the Taliban's. They just don't have bombs strapped to their chest, right? They do it in other ways, and I don't know that much about Somalia, but I know enough to know that they're here wreaking havoc on our streets right now. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there a little bit. We were talking about we did a lot last night on what's going on in Minnesota, and I'm gonna give you a condensed version about what's going on, but there's a few key points that you might want to know about what's really going on there. By the way, there was another death today, and I haven't been able to fully see what's going on there, but from what I could tell, he pulled a gun and got shot, and they were attempting to detain somebody. Some altercation. They had him on the ground. He went for his gun. They shot him. And of course they say, oh, the cops planted the gun on, all that stuff. So there's just a whole lot of stuff going on around it right now. So I'm going to wait before I give a full report of that, because I don't. All right. So I'm looking right now where my sound went out at last night, so I can cover. Yeah, so Jamie Dimon was at Davos, and so that's where we were at. So we're at Jamie Dimon giving his little talk, a short talk at Davos. Let's cover that real quick, and then we'll come back. I'm gonna run these two clips back to back. I can find my. One. Okay, stand by. We'll be right back.
Ready? Here's your headline. I'm a globalist.
I'm not looking for a headline.
I've been coming to Davos all these years and listening to chatter and stuff like that. And he didn't do a particularly good job making the world a better place. I think it's great we get together and talk. But you want me to do this is.
I wanted to answer my question. It's not
one
hard.
headline that gets rise up.
No, I don't. Jamie, that's not true. I'm genuine. I've asked you this question off camera.
I've made it clear. I want a stronger NATO, a stronger Europe. Some of the things Trump has done are causing that. Some are not. I'm not a tariff guy, though I'd use it in the 8 cases I had. I think they should change their approach to immigration. I've said it. What the hell else do you want me to say? Ready? Here's your headline.
Lost my cursor here. Jesus, Webb.
I think that's all right. I think it's okay to point out, I would be more polite about it, about the weaknesses of Europe, what they need to do. I think we need a stronger NATO. I think it's right for us to complain that NATO didn't do enough. Fine, got it. Crying over spilled milk. How do you make it stronger? And I think we need a stronger Europe. I think that's good for America. It's good for Europe. They know what they need to do. You know, the Draghi report and all these common markets and savings and investment policies, and they don't have that common market yet. They have too much bureaucracy. They have too much things that get in the way. But that would be good for Europe and very good for America. And you know, trade and tariffs are part of that, but not the only part of that. So I still think that's the best thing, to keep the Western world together. That would be my goal: make the world safer and stronger for democracy, so that we don't read that book 40 years from now, how the West lost.
Do you think the Trump administration is making the world safer and stronger and making NATO stronger?
I don't think it's a binary thing. I think that to isolate what NATO weaknesses are, I think that's fine. You know, they do it in their own way. You know, I wouldn't say things like that on TV. I might say it publicly, privately. So I think that's all right. I think it's okay to point out, I would be more polite about it, about the weaknesses of Europe, what they need to do. But if the goal is to make them stronger as opposed to fragment Europe, then I think that's okay.
But do you think that is the goal?
I don't know. I have not heard them say what they want the ultimate goal to be.
Yeah. So because he doesn't want to say too much, but I got two earpieces going on. I just want to see. Last night, it sure was funny that we started talking about globalism and it cracked on us, and we didn't have sound. Anyway, so Jamie Dimon coming out and he's just saying that, hey, you know, can we get rid of globalism? Obviously, it doesn't work. Letnick comes out, and we'll play this clip next, where he's talking about globalism is dead. We need to get away from that and get back to American values in America, because that's what all the world wanted, was the American values, not green energy and all this stuff that's completely failed. And even goes on to talk about how when you have green energy, all the electric stuff, and you have to buy batteries, but you don't produce batteries, so you have to get batteries from China, then you have to count on China for your energy, and that's a bad idea. And that was Lutnick, and we're going to play that clip right now. But no, I never really knew where Jamie Dimon landed on this stuff. I always thought he was a globalist. He admits that he's a globalist. That he may be a moderate globalist, but he's definitely a globalist. But I always thought that he was one of those people that you got to keep your eye on. But I guess he's in the Trump administration as well, which these things that Trump does on some levels, I don't understand. And I'm not a politician, so it's easy for me to not understand these different things, like, you know, Jamie Dimon being in, you know, or Lutnick, or any of these Democrats that, you know, have been against Trump forever. Not that Lutnick was, but we know that Jamie Dimon used to talk shit about him in 2017, but now all of a sudden it's just weird for me, because I think that we should have all America first patriots, America first people in office fighting with Trump, you know, arm in arm, battle to battle, and so we could get rid of all this fraud and all this corruption and all these fake people and all this garbage that we have going on, because there's a bunch of Fed slop and all this bullshit that always goes on in government. We were always under the impression, or I was at least, that Trump was going to clean house and not put any of these Susie Wiles type people in office, but you know, he's got them all around him. So that's my thing on that. Let's listen to what Lutnick kind of hands it. He just kind of hammers. He really hammers the globalists at WF in this short couple minute talk that we got.
Okay. We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is, that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
Yeah, and so that tells you everything you need to know about that whole Green New Deal bullshit that Trump got out of right away. I think in his first week is in office, he canceled that whole thing. But they're still pressing it. They're still working on it. They're still trying to get it through. They're still trying to do windmills and all this stuff that doesn't work. You know, you have coal energy, you know, like we've always had. We've always had. I mean, everything that you see that you look at, everything that's made, it all runs off. It's all built with machinery that's ran from oil, gas, different types of petroleum oils that turn into different types of oils and gases that they run the equipment off of, including electrical. And so, yeah, can you sustain some things with what is it called? Solar panels? Yeah, but not on that level. They want to take, just for AI, they want to create these big solar farms to run AI, and that's the next thing that's coming. And you know, they want to take away from our grid. Trump stopped that and said that you have to run your own. You have to have your own power to run your AI grid. Whatever. I mean, I don't know that much about it, hardly anything. But he stopped them from saying no. The American people have to cut back on their energy cost, on their energy, charge more for the energy, and have a cap on how much energy you can use, so that we can run this AI stuff. And Trump said, no, you have to create your own AI. So that's why they're creating these AI farms with solar panel, whatever it is, whatever their new thing is. I'm not sure. I don't know that much about it. Probably dig into that a little bit, but I haven't. But this is the thing that, excuse me, Lutnick's getting into. I got a little something going on with my throat, but we're going to still do this anyway. And so, just on a basic level, we know that green energy doesn't work. Yeah, you can get like a Tesla car, runs really good, has a shelf life of I think 5 to 10 years. As where if you buy a car, you know, as long as you keep oil in it, and gas in it, and keep your maintenance up, it could last for 20, 30. I mean, there's still cars on the road from the 70s. You know, obviously they've had to be reworked and rebuilt and stuff like that, but gas engines have always been better than anything made out of electrical, whatever it's called, electrical cars and all that stuff. But I get the concept, but it costs more to build electric cars and to operate electric cars than it does to run gasoline engines. Tell me how that's going to save us money. It costs more for lithium than it does to produce the oil that's in the ground that we just pump out of the ground. So I mean, it's just the whole thing is a big scam. Anyway, that's my little take on that for right now. Now I want to get into this while we're here, and this is going to be relatively short tonight. But I wanted to cover this because there's some misconceptions on what's going on in Minnesota. Some people are saying, and this is weird because, and I respect my military absolutely, but there's some people out there talking some big doo doo about the fact that the America First people are saying to support ICE to get rid of the illegal aliens that are, the ICE is out there rounding up all these illegal aliens and these uh, communist people, basically these socialists, or I don't know what do you want to label them? Liberals? You want to label them that? Call them leftists? What do you want to call them? I mean, these crazy people, mostly white crazy people, bunch of Karens out there honking and getting in the way of ICE and not letting them do their job. By the way, I don't know if you know this or not. Majority of the people that they are going out there after right now are either in Minnesota, just rapists, murderers, child pedophile, you know, pedophiles, and fraudsters, people that have committed fraud with our system. Those are the people that they're going after right now. And the liberals or the whatever the whack jobs, the blue hair people, the Karens, they're out there blocking the federal agents. They're saying that they're not cops, but they are cops because they have a badge and they're out there doing the arresting people. Makes no sense to me. But they're blocking them and they're doing all this stuff and they're getting in the way and they're causing ICE's job to be harder and it's 15 below zero. And so a couple things. They're getting paid a lot of money to be out there in the cold weather to do this because they're all paid propagandists, by the way. Maybe not every single one, but there is a majority of them that are. I mean, I can guess that some of the neighborhood people, they get together and we're going to stop ICE and they go out there. Maybe they're not being paid. But when you go into these cities, there was 15,000 people in St. Louis, or I mean in St. Paul, Minnesota, earlier this week. 15,000 people. Like, does anybody have a job? Let me show you. Let me show you what I mean. Hold on a second. That's when I. Look at this. I hope I have sound now. So can you hear me? It's fading in now. I don't know what the hell's going on. Check. All right. I'm glad. Check. Okay, so it sounds like I might have figured it out here. We're just going to keep talking. Check. Check. Sound check. Sound check. Sound. Check. 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 Sound check. No. Check. Check. Sound check. Check. Sound check. Sound check. Check. Sound. Sound check. There it goes. I'm back on. It looks like I got sound again. Let's see if we can get this thing to work right. All right, where were we? Jesus. All right. I know where we're at now. I remember. So we were talking about Minnesota. I got something going on with my system. I have to figure it out. So we'll get Minnesota, ICE protesters and all this crazy shit going on. It's pretty wild, actually, if you think about it. Sorry for the interruption there. Not sure. As long as we're up and we're working, that's all that matters right now. We'll, that's why we're doing this test run tonight, so we can figure out what the problems are. All right, so stand by for a minute. Let's run this clip, see how it goes. Let's see if I can hear it and all that. So stand by.
Minneapolis gears up for mass anti-immigration enforcement protests starting tonight and through the weekend. And I'll hand it to the communists. They encircled that hotel. They thought J.D. Vance was in last night. He'd publicly flown back to D.C. and beat pots and pans and blew horns and blew whistles until 5 a.m. And it was 15 below zero while they were doing it. So we finally got a way to get leftists to do some work and get up off their asses. So they're going to be running around rioting this weekend, and they're saying it's going to be like 20 below zero there. So, I mean, I like the cold, folks. And I'm pretty tough. And let me tell you, I wouldn't be wanting to hang around even with a good coat and gloves and stuff in 20 below for more than an hour. I mean, I don't care how tough you are. It starts hurting. So can you imagine if this was the summer, how big these riots would be around the country? That's what they're gearing up for. So they're just waiting to stage their false flag.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy, man. These people are out here starting a civil war, basically. I mean, that's really what's going on. There's no other way to put it. Creating civil war conditions all over the place for, civil war conditions. They're going after ICE. They're first of all, I've never in my life, and we've talked about this before, never in my life been at a scene where American citizens getting in the way of cops. Never in my life. And then they're saying, oh, they're not cops. Yeah, they are. They have a badge and a gun, and they're arresting people with handcuffs. That tells me that they're the popo. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's get into this. The short version of this is they went to that church the other day, and they caused a big old ruckus. And they get arrested. I got this report right here from Gateway Pundit. Biden judge orders release of Minnesota church protesters Nakima Armstrong and Chanel Allen. These are the two black chicks. They're BLM lawyers, one of them is at least. And then William Kelly, also arrested about this. We're going to cover this right now. First, I want to share with you what, this William Kelly, who he calls himself the woke farmer, what he had to say. And then we'll be right back. Let's pull this clip.
Yesterday, I went into a church with Nakima Armstrong and I protested these white supremacists. A pastor of the church is a fucking ICE leader in the city. How can you be a fucking pastor and be a fucking ICE agent? Fuck them. They want to come after me? Fuck them. How can they live so comfortably while the fucking people from Somalia that are in this country legally, that have fucking citizenship, can't even go to their mosque and pray? How do they deserve any fucking different? Fuck those fucking Nazis. Come and get me, Pam Bondi, you fucking traitorous bitch. All power to the people.
Administration and the fake news magas are losing their mind over something that's not even true.
Oh, no, sir. This ain't got nothing to do with MAGA. This got everything to do with you taking your fagger ass up in that church and harassing people like that. Now you want to circle back and act like, oh, well, I'm in no affiliation, association. No. You are in 110% corroboration with the Democratic Party that is causing more and more and more problems. You, by the way, who keeps saying that white people are devils, but you married to a white man. So does that make you the devil's broad? I'm trying to understand, what is it exactly that you are doing, and what is it exactly that you want us to think that you're doing? You are opposition to any and everything that is successful in this country. Anything that is trying to get this country together, you are in direct opposition of. But then you want to come back and try to play the victim. No. You're not a victim, Don. You are not a victim. You are 100% guilty of all the shit that you have already done. And you keep doing it. Then you keep doing it. Then you want us to come in and talk about, oh, well, it's the news. It's the news. You're a damn journalist yourself. Listen.
So let me just make it clear, because this a assistant attorney general, I don't know. So let me just make it clear, because this a assistant attorney general, I don't know. Gosh, what's her name? Something Hammett, Gillen or whatever.
So thank you for joining the show, Hannah.
I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism.
Okay. Your response to Don Lemon.
Well, look, I mean, we have a presumption of innocence in this country, so I want to preserve my ethical duties here. But let me just say that, he's a journalist. He was a journalist. I don't know what he is now, but journalism is not a badge or a shield that protects you from criminal consequences when you are part of a crime. And I think the videos show how close he was to these folks. I think further evidence will show more information about that. But he clearly knew, and he stated before going into the facility, it's on his own video, what was going to happen there. What was going to happen was a violation of federal law, federal criminal law. And I don't know what to say. I mean, the FACE Act has been out there for more than 30 years, and there were lawyers involved in this so-called protest, and their purpose was to terrorize people of faith in a house of worship. They were targeting a different pastor, not the one seen on camera, who they got information was a ICE supervisor. None of that matters. It's off limits to go into a house of worship to do your little protest. Protests can occur on public property. Protests can occur outside, on a sidewalk, certain sidewalks, not all sidewalks. And this is like basic what you learn in the first year of law school. It is time, place, and manner restrictions on the First Amendment right of protest, and they were violated here in this case. No question about it. The only question is who was involved, how many were involved, and how many charges are going to be brought here. Those are the questions.
Absolutely incredible here. Could you talk us through the last time that this argument was used, which was January 6th? Because I tend to recall, and I know many of them, people who were there on January 6th, and they were filming, right? And they said, sorry, my phone was plugged in. They were saying, I was filming, and so therefore I'm a journalist, and I get protection from this act that the federal government said was criminal. And, and they didn't get any protection. Steve Baker is one that's pretty famous at the Blaze. But there were many others. And so that certainly did not shield these journalists on January 6th breaking in the U.S. Capitol, right?
Yeah, you're correct. And look, I've been practicing First Amendment law for over 30 years. And so I have represented many journalists, mostly conservative, not all conservative. And if someone were to come to me and ask me, hey, is it okay if I embed with a gang of criminals about to commit a crime and videotape it? I would say that would be a poor idea. Do not do that. Let me call my criminal defense attorney friend and let's get you retained. If you think you're going to do something crazy like that, you need to get your bail money ready. And I would advise against it. That would be my advice neutrally, just theoretically. Okay. Now, the leader of this, one of the organizers there who got the kiss from Don Lemon is a lawyer. She's a lawyer for BLM. She's a lawyer for the NAACP, or she has been historically, I think, leader of a chapter there of the NAACP. And a lawyer should know better because this law is well known. But forget the law. A human being should know better than to take their protest into an altar in front of a place where people are coming to worship. It is literally supposed to be a sanctuary from all kinds of distress and fear, and a place to get comfort and solace. And this is just godless behavior to take that into a house of worship. It is, I don't know what we've come to here in this country, that people are doing this willingly, but it won't happen again with impunity. It won't happen in this case with impunity. And it's not going to happen in America. We won't tolerate it.
I know that you cannot comment on that.
Yeah. So, wanted to cover the Don Lemon clip in there too, because it all kind of goes together. But this William Kelly is the loudmouth that is running around, getting in, cops' faces, getting National Guard faces, trying to push their buttons and get them to react and all that stuff. And he talks about how he's a, veteran and, combat vet and all that stuff. Later on, it's come out, and I haven't fully confirmed it, but that he was a paper pusher in the military and all this stuff. So a lot of different things going on there, but they arrested him. And, I'm not sure if this was the first arrest or if this was the arrest where, after he went to that church, but they arrested all three of the ringleaders. And I don't know if the other ones were arrested. They're not getting publicity like these three are, because these three are ones that were out. They went on CNN and all that stuff, talking a big, bunch of talk about it. So let me show you that. But before I do, I want to cover the where's that? Play these two together. I think it's just great that you have this this crazy shit going on. I'm distracted. Play three clips for you. They all go with Minnesota here. Stand by.
Folks, I want people to see this live video. We are at the Target in Edina. We've got to have about 70 people in line here. Everybody bought salt and they're returning it. Why? Because we are asking that Target step up as a corporation of moral courage in this critical moment in our country. ICE is leveraging Target's silence. They are abducting Target employees. They are staging in Target parking lots. They are going into Target stores and using it as propaganda opportunities. We are asking Target, whose whole brand has been built on serving the communities in which they are to step up, speak out, use the corporate power that they have, because we know that's the only thing.
All ugly white bitches. I'm just saying. I don't know.
I just wanted to check in with everybody. I just returned from being detained by ICE. I'm gonna tell more. I just have to actually think it through right now. I was with a friend and we were boxed in by ICE vehicles. Ran into the back of my car and then claimed that
No, this is the lady that last week was saying that she needed a man to go with her to be her boyfriend to go protest ICE.
there's a lot more. Because when they let you go, and grabbed us. I yelled address. There's a lot. Build community. Show up for something. So there's going to be.
Get out of the road or you will be arrested.
I just want to apologize. You guys heard he's identified us. He's going to come for me. So when they come, I'm going to be the first to run. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. We got you. Fuck you! Fuck you!
Well, they arrested him anyway. That was the point I wanted to make. And then I'm sure they released him right away. That's what they do nowadays. They just let people go. They don't keep them for any length of time. In this new America that we live in. If it was me, I'd still be in jail, but, you know, what do I know? Judge says that they are not allowed to wear masks anymore and all kinds of stuff, you know, because they can't protect themselves from the doxing and stuff, because that's what liberal judges do, right? That's the way, kind of way it goes, right? Anyway, I'll apologize for the break in the show. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell's going on with it because I don't know. I'm assuming that I had some settings off, but when I lost my screen, it cut my sound off. So that's something to note. We'll be working on it this weekend, see if we can't get it right. God bless everybody. Please share this information. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Help us with the algorithm. We're on YouTube, Rumble, Getter, and X. Thank you. Have a good night. We'll talk to you again soon.